Welcome back. Don't forget, today we're taking notes on regular lined paper, not in our factoring book. We'll continue notes in our factoring book tomorrow. For this second video, we're going to be given the volume of a rectangular prism, which is just a fancy way of saying a box. And we're going to try to find the three original dimensions. So volume is for a three-dimensional shape. So we'll need the length, the width, and the height. So that's going to be our new third dimension that we're looking for. All right, so all of our volume problems today are going to be dealing with a rectangular prism, which again is just a fancy way of saying a box. And the dimensions on a box or a rectangular prism are length times width times height. So we're going to get three dimensions today. That means we should get three parts to our factoring problem. So we're going to start with one long adding problem, and then we should get something times a second thing times a third thing. That's where the length and the width and the height will come in. Okay, so here's our first example. We're given the volume. The volume is 18b to the fifth minus 3b to the fourth plus 30b to the third minus 5b squared. And we need to find the original dimensions of the prism. Again, we will be factoring today. Normally when you factor, you get two things multiplied together. And so if we want to get three things, that just means we're going to have to do two types of factoring. It doesn't matter what order you do the two types of factoring in. And we've really only learned two types of factoring. We learned GCF on Tuesday, and then we learned the box method yesterday. So those are the two types of factoring you're going to use. And again, you want to get three things for your answers, okay? A length, a width, and a height. Again, if you're feeling pretty confident about what we've been doing so far, if you want to pause the video, you can, and try it on your own. If you need a little help, I'm going to help you out. Now, normally I forget to check for a GCF at the beginning of something with 4 terms because there's just so many terms. So I usually go straight to the box method, but you could definitely find the GCF first. In the box method, I'm now going to factor out what they have in common, but just 2 things at a time instead of all 4, right? So 18 and 3 have a 3, and then the b to the 4th. 3 times 6 is 18, and then b, so we can get it to b to the 5th. And then we just need a negative 1, so everything's good except for the sign. 6 times 5 is 30, and b times b squared is b to the 3rd. And then we double check, negative 1 times 5b squared is negative 5b squared. So that's all good. Now, again, we were wanting to get 3 dimensions. And at this point in time, we only have 2, right? We have the height and the width or the length or whatever you want to think of it as. But we do need a third one. So to find the third one, you're going to look at the left side of our box. And there is a GCF between those 2 terms. It's not a number. 3 and 5 don't have a number in common, but they do have a b in common. So my GCF is b squared. And that's where I'm going to get my third answer from. So one of my answers is b squared. My second answer is what I get after I take out the b squared. So 3b squared plus 5. And then my third answer is across the top, the 6b minus 1. So those are my 3 answers, my length, my width, my height. It doesn't matter which one is which. We actually don't really know which one is which, but it's important that we got 3 of them. All right, why don't you guys try this next one on your own? So it's very similar to the one that I had just done. You have 4 terms, and we want to find 3 dimensions. So box method and GCF. And I'm going to go ahead and put a question on this video so that you can check and see how you did. So make sure to pause the video, try this problem, and then answer the question. All right, guys. So here is my final answer. So my GCF for this problem was 3j. One of my parentheses is 7j squared minus 2, and then the other one is 3j plus 4. And here's the box method if you need to see how I did that. This concludes today's note.